Hello and welcome to the Flagstaff County Podcast. I'm your host, Kerry Castagna, Communications Coordinator for Flagstaff County. Today I am joined by an individual who has been dedicated to making a positive impact in our community. Lynn Jenkinson, the Executive Director of Flagstaff Family and Community Services. Lynn, thank you for stopping by today.
Oh, thanks, Kerry. I just love it when you ask me to come here because I just love to talk, right? It's from my career years ago in radio.
The old radio days.
I just still love a microphone, and that's why many people don't ask me to be an MC anymore because I talk too much, I think.
Yeah.
Do you believe that?
Go on and on and on.
I just go on and on and on with a big smile on my face.
Oh, yeah. No, that's a good thing. You're listening to the official podcast of Flagstaff County. So I have a question, and I'm not complaining or anything, but today is Leap Day. And I did hear on the radio on the way to work today. Is it true that if you are a salaried employee, you are working for free today?
No, I don't think so, because as a boss at FFCS, I'd tell my employees, yeah, but I give you Easter Monday off, which isn't a stat, and I give you, you get Boxing Day off, and it's not a stat, so I think it all evens out everywhere.
Yeah, and it evens out after 4 years anyway, right?
Yeah, I think, yeah. So it's only once every 4 years, so if you have to give somebody a free day, it doesn't matter, does it?
Okay. I was just checking. I just wanted to ask you about that.
And I came back with a positive answer.
Exactly. That was good. So let's get serious. To kick things off, can you shed some light on the current state of food insecurity locally and how the Flagstaff Food Bank is playing a pivotal role in addressing this issue?
I will tell you, Kerry, we are at, when I last talked to you last time, I think it was a year or two ago, I said, we're at record numbers. Kerry, guess what? We've broke all those records and we're at record numbers again. We have so many people in need in Flagstaff, and I can tell you it's because of inflation. We can't afford to pay our bills. People who are working minimum wage aren't paid enough to then pay their gas bills, their town bills, just to make it. Then how can you afford car insurance and fuel? So yes, we are at record numbers. Last year was a record year again, and then our year starts December 1st. So from December, January, February this year, I can tell you already we're probably going to break records if it keeps up. We have 22 new clients in the first 3 months of the year. Last year we only had 18 new clients.
Oh wow!
Whoa.
So it's going up.
It's going up. It keeps going up.
Higher rate.
Yeah. And people are
exponentially.
And people are moving to the area, and we meet a lot of new people that move to this area because they are moving because they think there's work here. But a lot of the work is minimum wage jobs, or when you move, you still have to, if you're a renter, you still have to pay the damage deposit, right? You have to. Mm-hmm. So as soon as you move somewhere, you're getting behind already. So if we can help people for a month or two, we're happy to do that. It makes me sad that we have to help some people every month, but we do. But we have other clients who just stop in every 3-4 months, and we kind of just help them out when they get a little behind.
Yeah. So do you have some stats there that you brought?
I have stats for last year. I have stats for this year. I have stats all over the place. Do you want to hear some stats?
Sure. I mean, what's the kind of the Reader's Digest version? The
Reader's Digest version is last year we did 564 hampers, and that means we helped 959 adults and 500 children. So we helped 1,459 people last year with food. Wow. That's a lot when you think we have 8,440 people live in Flagstaff or thereabouts.
Yeah, so that's just in the Flagstaff region.
That is just in the Flagstaff region.
Wow.
And I'll tell you a great thing about this food bank. The Flagstaff Food Bank is so well supported by everyone, and I mean everyone, because the schools help us out. The Wild Rose Co-op helps us out. Sue Young at Daysland AG Foods helps us out. Brian Moore in Forestburg at Shop Easy. The store owners help us out, but regular citizens help us out. Everybody helps out the Flagstaff Food Bank. I don't know if I could ever tell you somebody who did not help us out.
Huh. But is it getting harder for people to help out? Because, I mean, everybody's in the same boat these days.
I keep saying, wait for that rainy day. Make sure you have a little bit of savings because we're a food bank and we get donations. And we haven't hit the rainy day yet. We do have a lot of donations and we do have a lot of money. I can say that we do, but please keep giving it to us because we do use it accountably and responsibly. And each year we really revisit. Like last October, we revisited our food buy list because we have certain items that we will purchase. And this last year, I know some people are just going to say, how could you do that? We actually put coffee and tea off the buy list because especially coffee has become so expensive.
Oh, okay.
You know, it goes on sale for $9, but what could I buy for tuna for $9? That's a food product. So yeah, our clients will actually be finding out this month that we ran out of coffee, and that's percolated coffee. We still have a lot of instant coffee, but it's not a food product. So we as a food bank board had decided that sometimes we have to make those tough decisions too. So we revisit those things annually and say, okay, what can we change here? How can we save money here? How can we do this a little differently? So yeah, it's a living sort of network, and you try to find out. And we're going to be talking about toilet paper later, I understand. So I'll tell you something really interesting about toilet paper and food banks later.
Oh, okay. All right. Did you have any more stats, or like how are things going this year so far? Is it on pace to beat?
It's on pace. Well, I'm just looking at the stats really quick, and we're on pace to either meet or beat this past year. And that's not good news, right? Because that means we have more people coming in. And I noticed lately in the first 3 months of this year, December, January, February, that we are having a lot more families with children visit us. And we've always been about 50%. 50% of our clients are our children, and that's a terrible stat to have too when the governments keep saying we want to bring children out of poverty, but you can't bring children out of poverty unless you bring their parents out of poverty.
Exactly, yeah. All right. Well, I mean, the food bank is having a very impressive impact on the region. So can you share some success stories or memorable moments that highlight the positive outcomes of the food bank initiatives?
Well, I'll tell you one thing. We went to 2 conferences last year, 4 or 5 of the board members, because we said, let's go and figure out what other people are doing. And what we found out for our Flagstaff Food Bank nationally, provincially, is we are one of the most generous food banks in the province and even nationally, and that's because we have so many donations. Yeah. So people never leave our food bank with a bag of food. They are leaving with 2, 3, 5, 6 boxes of food. Right now, we are lucky enough to be purchasing meat from the co-op that they haven't sold, so we're getting a really good price on it. So we used to, many years ago, give out 1 pound of hamburger because it was designed to be a week's worth of food. So each family or single person got 1 or 2 pounds of hamburger. Right now, when you come to the Flagstaff Food Bank this week, you got a ham, and some got a pork roast, and then you get 2 pounds of hamburger. Some got steak. It's because we're choosing to purchase some meat because meat's really important. It's protein, right? So the good.
Gotta have that protein.
You have to have that protein, and like a can of beans ain't that thrilling all the time, right? No. It's a good protein too, but yeah, it's nice to have meat. And we just found out from attending those conferences that we are very, very generous. And sometimes we think, ooh, are we giving too much? But you can't ever give too much, can you?
No.
Yeah.
So I know you've talked about it before, but it's because, I mean, we're a community of farmers, right? I mean, we're a farming community, agricultural community. Is that part of the reason why we're so giving?
I think so because I've talked about it before because I work with numerous different charities over the years, and farmers really give to food banks. We have no problem finding beef. It used to be that we actually took an ad out in the paper saying, hey, we're getting low on beef. Can somebody please donate a beef to us and we will pay for the processing? We haven't had to do that. We just recently were donated 3 beef from 3 different farmers. Oh, okay. 3 different families. Wow. And they donate the beef, and then and actually I can say in 2 of the instances we didn't even have to pay for the processing because they donated that too. So those are big donations. That's a whole cow. And we get it made into 1 pound packs of hamburger. So everyone then gets hamburger. They get ground beef. We don't get steaks, roast, whatever, because that's too hard to give out, right? Because somebody might say, oh, well, they got a steak. How come I only got hamburger? This way, everyone just gets hamburger. And the processing people are really good too. I can tell you, the Strom guys are just wonderful, because usually I stop by and pick up the beef, and we pay for the processing if we have to. And then he just throws in, "Hey, Lynn, yeah, I'll give you 15% off." And then, "Oh, look, I have some extra meat here." Yeah, like everyone is just, everyone just wants to make sure everyone is fed. And when you think about the children whose families, if they don't have good jobs, or if they have minimum wage jobs, because most of our clients actually do work, right? They're just, the money isn't going as far as it used to. But when they think that I'm going to feed a child, it's like, we got to give some more. We got to give some more, and we got to make sure our children are fed.
Yeah. So it's very successful in this part of the world. Speaking of success stories, the Flagstaff Food Bank Toilet Paper Tower Challenge took place in January. How did that go?
Okay. We were down this year, but we expected to be down. Well, because of the economy, right? We were down, but we still got enough for 11 months. We received 8,409 rolls of toilet paper, and that will keep us going for 11 months, and it equals out to about $7,700 worth of toilet paper. And it's a thrill. The schools they support us up the yin yang, because it's fun. They make it fun. Every student you can bring a roll, you can bring a package. Daysland is very, very competitive. They won last year, Daysland School, with 4,800 rolls, but you can tell how the economy is. This year they won with 2,222 rolls. Oh, wow. But they still beat Sedgwick, and Killam participated this year, and they beat Forestburg too. So, yeah. So Daysland has a real fun time with it. Daysland, when we went to Daysland, me and Marilyn Keisters, another board member, we borrow Holby's glass trailer, and we filled it up in Daysland with the stuff from the school. So we have to drive to the food bank, drop off the toilet paper, and then we drive around the rest of Flagstaff County. And Hardisty did really well this year, too, as a community. They don't have a school, and they were in second place, so that's pretty good for Hardisty. Okay. And Killam was in first place for community, but that's because Wild Rose Co-op really gets behind the toilet paper challenge. And they're right there, and people put it in just the bin at the co-op. They buy it, they put it in the bin, we pick it up, and it's just a really, really fun thing. And the interesting thing about toilet paper, as we found out going to the national conference, because it was in Edmonton, and the provincial conference in Lloydminster, is many food banks actually don't give out toilet paper.
Oh, yeah.
It's not a food product.
Oh, okay. But it's definitely a necessity.
It is definitely. Well, see, I think it's a necessity. The joke is I'm obsessed with toilet paper, because I'll tell you when it's on special at any of the local stores, and I'll tell you when it's a good deal. But the thing about toilet paper, yes, it's a necessity. And if food banks give it out, we have found out they give out 1 roll for an individual and 2 rolls for a family. Oh. And what we found out during the pandemic is we probably shouldn't be touching people's toilet paper much, right? We, it's a pretty safe thing. People don't want, other people's fingers all over their toilet paper. But the thing with the toilet paper is we do have to break it up if we have it in a big package. But everyone leaves with 12 rolls is what we try to do. You get an equivalent of 12 rolls of toilet paper once a month. Doesn't sound like much, but you only get a hamper once a month. So it doesn't matter if you're single or an individual. A large family will get 2 packages of toilet paper. It sounds so silly, but when you're running a food bank, you got to have some sort of rules around things just to make sure. But like I say, now we have 11 months. And the nice thing about the Flagstaff Food Bank historically is it's an old grader shed that Flagstaff County sold to the food bank. Town of Killam holds the title and stuff. We have lots of storage. But this year, because we had some left over from last year, we actually had to store some of the toilet paper in the basement at FFCS. Oh, wow. So we got lots of toilet paper, but it's important, and everyone will get toilet paper.
Yeah. Well, that's good news.
It is good news. It's thrilling for something it seems so silly, that toilet paper challenge, but it is helpful. Toilet paper is really, really expensive too. I don't know if you do the shopping or if your wife does, Carrie.
I don't really do the shopping.
Toilet paper can be really, really expensive. It can be $12.99 for 12 rolls if it's not on special.
That adds up, yeah.
Well, and people who are lack of money or working minimum wage, the toilet paper, I bet you if you looked, I'm going to track this now because you've challenged me, I bet you toilet paper's never on sale the last week of the month. I bet you it's in the middle of the month when people don't have the money to buy it on sale, right?
Okay. Yeah.
There's always a game involved when it comes to buying things, right? Yeah, so I bet you it's on sale, never at the end of the month. And if you buy, like, you need it. You can't live without it. We don't have Sears catalogs anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. Good one. So now I'd like to switch gears a little bit, Lynn, unless there was anything else you wanted to add.
I just want to add, like, thank you, Flagstaff. Like,
you
know, I went to these conferences for food banks, and they could not believe how successful we are and what our clients get. And it's nice to compare it to other food banks, but let's always make sure that Flagstaff gives out the most.
Yeah. I just fear it's going to get tougher and tougher, but it's going to get tougher for everybody to be so generous. Right?
Yeah, it's going to get tough because we can see what's happening in the next year, even that good old recession word has been mentioned again. But I think in Flagstaff, and I've seen it because I work for other charities too, Flagstaff people really help Flagstaff people. Yeah. I always get worried based on the economy, but as an example, like if I were to go on Facebook on the Facebook or Flagstaff Facebook page and say, hey, we're out of dog food because we don't buy dog food, but we like to give it out. Yeah. And if I just put on the Facebook page, we're out of dog food, we need dog food or even cat food, the bin at the Killam Co-op would be filled in an hour. Right. That's Flagstaff people.
Yeah.
They just help.
A lot of animal lovers too.
They are, yes. A lot of food banks don't give out pet food, but we do.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but we don't buy it, but people donate it. Yep.
All right. Okay, now I'd like to switch gears. Lynn, I heard you're retiring at the end of this year. And as you approach your retirement, let's take a moment to reflect on your journey. Can you share some highlights from your time leading Flagstaff Family and Community Services?
I can say a lot about that. It's been a real adventure. I've been in this position for 16 years. So like a lot of people feel I've been around a long time, but it's really not that long. It's only been 16 years only. But I'm just going to make sure as I leave this community, well, I'm going to stay here, but I'm going to leave my job. Mm-hmm. I'm going to make sure that the person who is taking over for me knows what's really important and all the secrets. I will share my secrets with her. And the thing I have learned is this community really supports the community. I've seen, like for FFCS, I can tell you about every 10 years, there is a threat that we're just cut. We're right now $100 million in a provincial budget, but we always got to sell ourselves. We're very, very important FFCSs in rural areas. Yeah. They're everywhere. It's 80% provincially funded, 20% municipal funded, and we have a great partnership here. Flagstaff Family and Community Services is the second largest multi-municipality FCSS in all of Alberta. The largest is 16 municipalities of Barron's, Eureka, Warner down south. Oh, okay. So what this shows for me is how well we work together in this region. Some people don't think we do work well. We work really well when it comes to FFCS. The municipalities really support us. All the board members who are local town, village, and county councillors, they really support us because it gives everyone a good feeling to help people. Yeah.
That's awesome. And you must really enjoy your job, though.
Oh, I do. I'm so passionate about it. But I think it comes from years of radio, covering politics, shifting into this, and then I just kind of fell into this years ago, and then Gail Watt, who did this job before me, really did mentor me in the position. And then when she left and retired, I applied for the job, and I was lucky enough to get it.
Huh. I just want to say you're way too young to retire.
Well, I am turning 60, and I'm a woman who's not afraid to tell you my age, and I plan to be a vibrant senior, but this job is very tiring, and that's why I'm moving on at 60. I'll go find something else, Carrie.
Oh, yeah, you'll keep busy. Yeah. Now, can you recall a specific moment or project that stands out as particularly memorable for you?
I'll tell you, one of my favorite projects is we receive a $35,000 grant, and it's through FIRST, though, which is our charitable, like we kind of run FIRST as well, which is Flagstaff's Informed Response Sharing Team, different board, community organization, but we're seconded to run it at FFCS. And my favorite thing that I always do is we get speakers to come into the schools, and we usually have them come into community too. And that is one of the favorite things I've done over the last 16 years is finding speakers who will come to our community and impart some knowledge in those students. And I always, like, people always say, what do you want to do? Like, what's your outcome? And I always say, if I change the mind of one youth and they do something with their life based on what they heard from a speaker. Like, I look back to Carl Subban. Yeah, right. He was excellent. David Chilton was one of my favorites. And David Chilton was one of my favorite speakers because I read the Wealthy Barber book many, many years ago. And then he had the Wealthy Barber too. But when we had him here, he was on Dragon's Den. But David Chilton would be great in this time, in this economy, because the wisdom he imparted in us was, don't spend more than you make.
Yeah.
It was just beautiful, right? And
Good advice.
Yes, it is good advice, but and we don't have to pay for a speaker to tell us that, but it's always nice to see a guy who has lots of money tell you don't spend more than you make. And other speakers like Mildred Muhammad, she was the sniper's wife from the United States. She's come out a couple times. Love Mildred. And it's the speakers, and I'm just hoping the students get something out of the speakers we bring in, and I'll be filling out that grant application tomorrow to get that grant again from the Alberta government to bring in speakers and partner with the schools.
Yeah, you always have some great speakers. I'm just thinking back to the broadcaster with a Hockey Night in Canada too. I remember him. You know which one I'm talking about. I'm putting you on the spot here, but
Hannah Ryan Singh.
Yeah.
And did I say Ryan? I don't know if I said your name wrong. Right, because I haven't. Yes, and he was excellent, right? Because
that was during the pandemic.
Yeah, he had Hockey Night in Canada in Punjabi, and now he's actually on Hockey Night in Canada. And he was really interesting because he grew up in Brooks as a Punjabi East Indian immigrant. His parents were teachers, and they had settled in Brooks, and basically they were the only immigrants of that culture in the community. Now it's a little bit more culturally diverse in Brooks because of the meat cutting plant. Yeah, he was fascinating.
All the odds stacked against him, and he was always told that he was never going to make it, I mean, I just love those kind of stories.
And it is, because you're working, those stories show that, and that's what I like when we're doing it with the students, is have somebody up there who had a dream. Because sometimes our education system and other systems are dream killers, because you got to follow that path that somebody set out for you. And my message always is, set out your own path and have fun. Make your own path, have fun. You're here, Carrie. You never grew up here. You're here working at Flagstaff County, enjoying it immensely.
Yeah, you got to pave your own way, right?
Yeah.
Now, as you prepare to step into retirement in several months from now, what advice would you give to your successor and others working in community services?
I say always pay attention to what's happening in the community. Always listen to people. There's some people who come in and say they have a need, but we can't always do what one person wants, but always watch out for the trends and see what's happening in community, and then try and respond to it. That's why I like FFCSs. I say FFC, it's actually FCSS, province-wide. But that's why I like FCSSs, because they're here at a community level to respond. We're not spending our money by what the government tells us is we have to. We respond to what our community needs are. So that's what makes it so interesting. And for anyone who wants to get into this business, I say get into it, because it's a great business, the human services field, because no day is ever the same. When I go to work in the morning, I have no idea what's going to happen. And that's why this is a great job. The predictability factor is completely out the window.
Yeah. Now, I should have asked you this earlier, but can you kind of go through all the hats you wear, the different hats? Because I introduced you as, executive director of FFCS, but obviously you've got like how does it work with the food bank and FIRST, and can you kind of go through that?
Sure. Okay. Flagstaff Informed Response Sharing Team is a charity, and it's sort of run by FCSS because the FCSS is seconded to run it. And their mission is to build up healthy relationships. So it covers quite a bit. FCSS is basically a municipal provincial organization. And we respond to the human services needs in our community, so it can change all the time. And we also have the Flagstaff Community Foundation, because Flagstaff has always been unique and forward thinking. And the Flagstaff Community Foundation, which I also run is the building in which we are situated in Killam, and that is run by a board, and it's a separate entity because FCSSs can't own their own building. That's one of the provincial rules. So Flagstaff, which is forward thinking, is the only one in the province right now to own their own building because the board members at the time, many years ago, way back in 2000, so I guess it's not that long ago, said we have to do something so we're not always paying rent to people. So we run the Flagstaff Community Foundation, the Flagstaff Food Bank. FFCS is currently the coordinator, but I've also been the Flagstaff Food Bank board member since 2009, and I'm currently the secretary. So I kind of wear two hats there. Yeah. And Flagstaff Rural Crime Watch I'm quite involved with as well. Yes, I'm one of their directors, and I was in on the beginning of that. So yeah, there's all sorts of community organizations I'm tied into, whether it be a volunteer or as the executive director. So
you're really entrenched in this community.
I am very entrenched in this.
How can you leave now?
And guess what? Here's the interesting thing, and people can sneer at me. The interesting thing is when I leave, a lot of the boards I can't stay on because their policy says it must be a Flagstaff resident. And I'm 3 miles out of Flagstaff. I actually live in Camrose County. Shush, I just told everyone.
Yeah.
And I do own that campsite, right? I do own Rosie's Retreat, right on the edge of Flagstaff County and Camrose County, as I like to say. So I'll still be involved in serving community, and I'll be involved. And I live right outside of Daysland, so I kind of consider Daysland my community. They really did envelop me years ago when I moved in, when I worked in radio, and I moved in with Mr. Austin Hansen, who I'm still with after all these years. So yeah, I'll still be a member of this community, and I'll look for things to do. And like I say, I'll look for other employment as a semi-retired individual.
Yeah, I can't see you being bored.
No, I always find something to do.
You're going to stay busy, that's for sure. So as you move into this new chapter, what's your hope for the future of Flagstaff Family and Community Services?
I just hope they stay on the path that they've been on. There's been a lot of interesting executive directors. They haven't had many over the years. I think I counted there was 5 in total since they started in 1976. So this is a job that when people get it, they really take it to heart to make their community a better place. And Brooke Grove, I know, will be my replacement. We've already started that succession plan. And Brooke has been with FFCS for 20 years in the finance part. So she will become the executive director if everything goes as it shall in the next few months. And Brooke will be more than prepared. And Brooke really loves this community, so I know I'm leaving FFCS in good hands. And our board, which is made up of municipal councillors, they really take it to heart and take it seriously, serving the community and making sure that needs are met. So I have no worries because all of us will leave at some point, and we just got to make sure it's all about the agency, that the agency is in good financial standing and the agency is prepared. It doesn't matter who's in charge. It matters how well the agency has always done, and we leave it in good stead.
Yeah, and you've set up a really good succession plan.
Yes, I love the succession plan, and Brooke and I will be presenting at the Family and Community Services Provincial Conference in November on how to do a successful succession plan because nobody's ever presented on that before.
Oh, wow, and you know it firsthand. Yeah.
I know it firsthand, and we're living it, and I always say to Brooke at work, we have to make sure we do this well, so when we present, we do a really good presentation and that other people can learn with us, learn from us. And that's been my thing my whole career is mentor people, and they will be successful.
Yeah.
Share your knowledge. Don't have secrets.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. So when is your last day officially?
It'll be January 5th, 2025.
Oh, okay. So it's the beginning of next year then.
Sort of. Right after Christmas.
Okay. I thought it was the end of this year, but
nope. January.
Well, you got a few extra days there.
Just a few extra days. Just a few. Who knows? Right. Maybe there'll be holidays, Carrie, by then.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Maybe you want to stay for another leap day. No.
That'll be another 4 years.
That's not going to work. So, Lynn, I'll likely see you again before you drive your shiny red truck off into the sunset. Though I want to just take this opportunity to thank you for your dedication and inspiring leadership. Your impact on Flagstaff Family and Community Services will undoubtedly be felt for years to come. We wish you a joyful and fulfilling retirement.
Thank you, Carrie, and thank you, Flagstaff, because you've certainly always supported me.
Yeah, well, thanks for stopping by today. And it's always a pleasure having you on the Flagstaff County podcast.
Maybe you'll hear from me again within the year.
All right.
Or maybe next year I'll come up with something even more unique.
Yeah. You're on.
It's a challenge. It's a dare.
challenge. We'll do it.
Okay.